Hi, I bet you're planning out your trips on your motorcycle this time of year, and I'm here to help you make that a success. So hang out and let's talk about planning that road trip on your motorcycle. Hi, I'm Terry, your host here at Road Rush Nation, and thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to join the nation, it's free. Just hit that subscribe button. Okay, enough of that. Now let's get to the good part. So you're planning out your trips that you want to take on your motorcycle this year, and you're kind of going, I'm just going to get on the bike and go. Great, do that if you can. But a lot of us need to plan because maybe we're taking friends with us and you got to kind of think about them. So when you're planning out your trip, the biggest cost you're going to have is not necessarily food. It's not going to even be cost of fuel. It's going to be lodging. And you kind of have to decide before you ever take the trip, what are you going to do for lodging? Are you going to camp or are you going to go ahead and let's get hotel rooms? Okay, it can get pretty costly. And if you're going to do motel rooms, which we do, it can vary cost-wise depending on where you're going. So think about that as you're planning out your trip. It can rack up pretty good. We've done like a few week trips, and by the time you get home, it's a few $1,000s just in hotel bills. So think about that before you ever start out on the road. What are you going to do? But for those that are going to camp, this video is also for you. I've got some great tips for you to think about for camping because we camp with a toy hauler now if we're going to do that. And a lot of the things I can tell you about campsites are going to help you out and things to think about. So first of all, packing. Less is better. Okay? Think about it this way. Anything that you can buy on the road, you're fine. Don't freak out about it. And just be light. You want to pack light. You don't want to have just this overabundance of stuff you don't need. It's very easy to overpack, especially if you have us ladies. I'm gonna be honest. We go, oh, this could happen. This could happen. Well, I gotta have an outfit for everything. I've got to have my curling iron. Stop, lady. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. It's, in fact, in a lot of ways, I like to pack for my motorcycle trips more than I do a regular trip because it's less stressful. I'm gonna wear my jeans. How many days? I'm gonna be on the bike. Stuff is going at you. You got road grime. You got everything. So I'm just wearing the dirt, sounds gross, but dirty jeans over and over again. So you don't need as many pairs as you think you do. Plan on also doing laundry if you can, because that's the way to go. If you're going to be someplace where you can have a laundromat, that's the way to go. So we'll take the little pods and pack them in our bag, have a couple, keep them in a baggie, couple of dryer sheets, keep them with us, and then take that with us. And a lot of the hotels, you have a place to do your laundry. Also, if you're going to be at an campground, check and see, because a lot of them have laundromats in there and you can go do your laundry. So you can kind of plan that out if you're going to be doing a long trip. If you're doing a week-long trip, I wouldn't even worry about it. The heck with it, you'll be fine with what you can pack. So here's the first thing I'm going to recommend. So maybe you're planning a trip to Sturgis, or you're gonna go out to the Smokies because, hey, we're gonna ride the dragon. Well, here's the first thing you want to do when you're planning how many days you're gonna be gone. Put an extra day on there. Just put an extra day as your buffer, because if things go sideways for you or anybody else, say your bike breaks down, or somebody in your group breaks down, you need at least a day for them to figure out, hey, we got to get repairs done on it. Maybe it's a tire, get into a dealership, or so on. So you get a day. Also, if there happens to be bad weather, then you've got that day buffer to get back on track. We've had that happen, and we ride in rain. You've seen us ride in the rain. It's raining, we can't ride. No, I'm talking about downpours. We got caught down on Route 66 a few years ago, just in the Ozarks, where it just downpoured. It had like 6 inches in a day, and it was flooding out everything. So we had to hunker down in the hotel we were in, and luckily they were able to keep our rooms for that night. And the next day we checked out the weather report, and got back on the road and got back going. We do not do hotel rooms and do reservations for the next day until that day. And here's a little trick. First of all, it's easy to sit down and go, hey, we're going to do 500 miles today. Okay, that sounds glorious and wonderful, but there's a lot of factors in whether you can get that 500 in. Weather, traffic, maybe the roads that you're going on, speed limits, and so on. You may not make 500 miles a day, okay? So kind of anticipate that you may need to cut that a little short. So if you do, no biggie. Here's how to make sure you have a hotel room. This is what we do. Do it all the time. First of all, I would suggest on your phones, get an app. Get the apps. You're going to need multiples for the hotel chains that maybe you stay at. So Holiday Inn, Hilton, Best Western, Motel 6, so on, whichever. And what we do is we'll try to stick with one of those hotel chains. The reason being, you get points, they build up, and you can get free rooms. So you maybe got somebody in your group that's into Holiday Inn and the other person's into Hilton's. You'll be able to use each other's points to actually get the rooms, because a lot of times the franchises will give special treatment for people with certain levels in their club. I've done that with Hilton. I've been a Diamond member, and they always have to hold rooms for Diamond members. There's room for those folks no matter where you're at. Even if it says sold out, they'll have them. And I've been able to save our bacon and people that have been on our group because of status. That's one thing to think about. But then, excuse me, pardon me. But what we do is, as we're riding along, and maybe about noontime, 1 o'clock, we'll stop at a rest stop. Everybody's have lunch or whatever, and we decide how much farther do we want to go today. How's everybody feeling? You kind of do that assessment. Then once we figure out, we can go for another 2-3 hours, fine. Let's see how far that is. And then we start, if you're in a rest area or someplace, 9 times out of 10, you will have good coverage for your phone, whether it's Wi-Fi or whether it's data. And we'll start looking on those apps. Everybody's got a different one, and go, okay, what's the town so far out, or city or community that we'll be at, and look for a hotel in that area. Then maybe we'll go, okay, let's look at the prices. That's always the next thing to do. And then go ahead and call that hotel, or even use the app and make the reservations. We make them in the afternoon. The reason being, especially when you're along an interstate or a busy area, people are driving, they're doing their traveling, and usually between 4 and 5 o'clock is when people will stop to get a hotel. And people just drive in and go, I'm getting a room. And that's when they get booked up real quick. Well, yours is already done. We have literally made those reservations. Then you're not stressing either. Here's the other good thing. You're not stressing, the people in your group are not stressing, oh, we've got a room now, we're good. But we've literally rode into a hotel and people are walking out, oh, they're completely booked or whatever. And we're like, no, we've got a room. And we walk in and we go, oh, nope, we made a reservation. And they'll go look through and they'll go, oh, yep, we do, we have you. It's such a relief. And I've had people in our group go, oh my God, I can't believe that is such a better way to do things, where they've been on trips where people waited to the last second. We're going to pull off here and see if we can find a room. And it gets very irritating, and people it's just not good. So stop up at early afternoon, wherever you're at, and make that next reservation for the next place, because it'll make it so much easier, so much less stressful. If you did all your stops beforehand, or did your reservations before you ever took the trip, and then you have that one hiccup, the weather or such, you could miss that on your room. It could screw up the whole trip, because now you're trying to make up. You could lose money. I've watched some of my favorite vloggers, like $1 Million Bogan, get screwed over on rooms because he makes them and can't use them. But anyway, that can get costly. Who wants to pay for a room you're not staying in? So there's another trick. Now, for you that are looking at camping, get yourself a camping app, okay? There's tons of them out there for RVers and so on, but they'll have tent spaces in most of these places. You can do the same thing, okay? I recommend you do the same thing. Just stop, find a place, get the app out, and make your reservation. Then you're not worrying about it. If you come in later, they'll tell you how late you can come in and so on. It's a little bit different with an RV campground. And I say RV, not that you're pulling an RV, but they'll have to camping sites, is the hours. They're not open like a hotel is. They're not open 24/7 and have, they'll say, oh, you got to be here by 6 o'clock. Oh, you got to be here by 7 or whatever. So that's kind of a downfall of it. So maybe you're one of those brave souls that says, I'm just going to go on my trip. We're going to just camp. I'm going to take a bedroll and I'm just going to stop somewhere along the highway and rest that way. More power to you. It's a little different nowadays. A lot of places don't allow you to just hang out and camp out. If you're going to go to an RV park, it's really cheap for a campsite. It's just only a few dollars a day. I recommend you do that. It's a little safer. You'll have amenities that you wouldn't normally have, restrooms, showers, and all that, that you wouldn't have if you just camp alongside the road. But one of the things I really wanted to share is that what kind of equipment are you going to take with you? And you want it to be lightweight and durable, right? Here's a secret. Well, it's not really a secret. When you go to find items that you want to use for camping, especially on your motorcycle trip, is go to the backpacking of your local outdoor store. You're going to find a lot of smaller, more compact items, and they're going to be lightweight. Let me show you one thing that we have that's awesome if you're going to go camping with your motorcycle. So see this? This is a cot. And it's so light. So I found my other one here with the label on it. It's called a luxury mesh cot. This, you'll see the picture of the legs on there. That's what you're sitting on, or you're laying on, okay? This bad boy only weighs 3 pounds, and it holds up to 350 pounds. So this is a great way, because who wants to lay on the ground? Oh my gosh. Get one of these. It's in the backpacking section of your local sporting goods area. You'll also find other items that you probably weren't even thinking about. Smaller sleeping bags, other things that you could use. But the backpacking section, that's a freaking great way to go. So plan out your route ahead of time. And one of the things I would highly recommend, stay off the interstates if you can. It's going to slow you down. If you're on just I want to get to a destination, you can take the interstates, but when you go to stop for hotels, it's going to be very competitive. So that's where you want to go back to the trick of waiting about early afternoon and making a reservation for the next place. You can have a great time as long as you are kind of plan out your trips. Also, you'll want to, one of the things I recommend too is if you've got a Harley, most of you will have the app on your phone or maybe on your bike that will show you where the dealerships are. You want to have an idea of dealerships along the way. It's easier for Harleys because there's so many dealers out there. But for you Indian riders, it can be a little bit, there's not as many dealerships. So it's good to have an idea with their app to see where those dealerships are, in case anybody gets into a situation where you got to call a dealer or get some help. That's another thing that you want to make sure you have. Make sure it's up to date. A lot of places have closed. COVID kind of killed a lot of places and things have changed, but you'll want to know where those dealerships are at. Well, hopefully you found some of this information helpful while you plan out your trips for this upcoming year. The best one is any one that you take. Thanks again for checking out the channel. Give us a thumbs up and don't forget to join that nation. It's free. Just hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for stopping by and can't wait to see you next week.